Welcome to United Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Reverend David Kramer, minister here at this church. With me today are Alex Chilson, our music director, Dennis Reynolds, our director of religious education, and Meg Whaley, chair of our religious services committee. This is a pre-recorded service. It will be available on our website throughout the week. During this time of social distancing, I hope it can help you stay connected to this caring community. Please pay extra attention to the regular Friday and Monday email posts for announcements. In addition, over the last couple of weeks, we have a new Tuesday post aimed at just those members and friends of this congregation who are our backbone. It will include information specific to this congregation, and I hope it begins to provide a forum for some more personal interaction in a digital format. There are a couple of important things to lift up. As Unitarian Universalists, we covenant to affirm and promote the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. The Wisconsin spring election and presidential preference vote will be held on April 7th, which is just about a week and a half away. In this time of social distancing, there are ways you can vote online other than turning out at the polls. If you are already registered to vote, you can request an absentee ballot and vote by mail. You have just a few days left to do this. So if this is what you want to do it now. You can also vote early, in person, at your municipal clerk's office, this started on the third Monday before the election day, which was a week ago. And if you are unable to go to your polling place on election day due to age or illness or disability or infirmity, you can request an absentee ballot be sent to you for every election automatically as an indefinitely confined elector. Check out myvote.wi.gov for more information. However you choose to do it, please make sure you vote. The second thing to note is that last week we tried an online coffee hour using the Zoom application. We're going to do it again today at 11:30. Along with the email inviting you to this service is a link to the Zoom call. If you haven't done this before, it's easy. You will have to download Zoom, but just follow the instructions on the screen. Follow the link, follow the instructions, and then grab a cup of coffee or tea or a treat and join in. Lastly, Tuesday, March 31st, is International Transgender Day of Visibility, dedicated to celebrating transgender people and raising awareness of discrimination faced by transgender people worldwide. Organizers of this annual event make this not a day for mourning, but a day to be empowered and to give recognition to trans people everywhere. Mindful of who we are and who we wish to be, please join me in lighting our chalice. May this flame kindle within us the warmth of compassion, the glow of love, the fire of commitment, and the light of truth. Here together, we scatter and nurture seeds of spirit, service, and community. And now join us as we sing together hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Giving life the shape of
invite Dennis Reynolds, our Director of Religious Education, up for a time for all ages.
Good morning, my name is Dennis and I am the Director of Religious Education here at United, and as this is the last time this month we'll be talking about wisdom, I went looking all through my house to find the things that were filled with the most wisdom. And lucky for me, I have a whole office that is just covered in books. Books in piles, books on bookcases, books that are full of dust, books everywhere. So I looked around at all the books, and I found big books and I found medium books, but I really wanted to find the tiniest book I own. So I found this tiny book, and it's also one of the oldest books I own. It was published in 1941. It has someone's name on the inside from all the way up in Wisconsin Rapids. It's a tiny book, but it's full of prayers. It's a very small prayer book. And I wonder how much wisdom that the man whose name is in this book got all the way back in the 1940s from this tiny little book. And it reminds me, and I hope it reminds all of you, that no matter how big or how small or how old or how young you are, there's just a little bit of wisdom inside each of us that we can use.
Thank you, Dennis. And now I would invite everyone into a time of quiet reflection, meditation, prayer. Words from Gretchen Haley. Though you have been warned and given plenty of explanations, reasons to do otherwise, you have persisted. To claim a life of joy and justice, to carve out this time, this space for renewal of your own heart. Despite all the reasons, the resistance, fighting for your attention, luring you toward fear, you persist. To practice gratitude for this day, this life that has been given, this chance to begin again. So let us gather that we might offer one another courage and strength, healing, hope, and this promise to persist in kindness, persevere in compassion, and prevail in a life that is for more than ourselves. Amen. In the past few weeks, I've had the pleasure of connecting by phone with several of our members and friends. Nearly everyone is holding up pretty well, but to a person, everyone I've talked to has appreciated the contact and the conversation. It's been like this for our caring committee as well. Jennifer Byriger, Paula Pombianco, Denise Cage, Donna Lundeen, Peggy Ann Harris, and Lisa Bieri. We are trying to pay particular attention to individuals in our congregation who may be especially vulnerable in this time or otherwise in some need, but really just anybody can use a phone call. So I want to say that if you know of someone who could use a call, well, reach out to them, find a way to connect. And if you are feeling isolated or in need, or even just in need of a call, well, please do call. Do not be shy about reaching out. God is in the connection. This week in particular, I know that Chuck Shepard had a birthday. He turned 88. Also, in our time of joys and sorrows, each week, we usually lift up people who are experiencing particular events in their life. Today, I want to lift up a few people just because. I don't know of any particularly eventful events in their lives, but I want to say that I am grateful for John Breacher, and Jen Hinton, John Harvey, Jenny McAllister. If we keep at this for a while, I'll have more. For all of these, let's sing Walking with You. Walking back of the hymnal is Earth Teach Me from the Utah Indians of North America. Earth, teach me a stillness as the grasses are stilled with light.
Earth, teach me suffering as old stones suffer with memory.
Earth, teach me caring as parents who secure their young.
Earth, teach me courage as the tree which stands all alone.
Earth, teach me limitation as the ant which crawls on the ground.
Earth, teach me freedom as the eagle which soars in the sky.
Earth, teach me resignation as the leaves which die in the fall.
Earth, teach me regeneration as the seed which rises in the spring.
Earth, teach me to forget myself as melted snow forgets its life.
Earth, teach me to remember kindness as dry fields weep with rain.
So during seminary, I volunteered at the Boys and Girls Club in Rochester, Minnesota for a while. One day I was sitting on the floor with a group of 6-year-olds when the topic of my bald head came up. They were giggly, I was self-deprecating, and then one girl looked at me really seriously and she said, "You know, you can change that, you know." She had apparently been convinced by one of those cheesy ads for hair growth formula on TV, and in her innocence and honesty, she was offering to help. She was offering her own wisdom. I laughed it off and went on to something else, but she was right, you know. I could do something about this, and in my choice to do nothing, she opened a door to all kinds of false truths that I tell myself. I am distinguished and unique, that my lack of hair signals a certain virility in our society or intellect. No grass grows on a busy street. God made a few perfect heads and covered the rest with hair. All of these things actually mean nothing. I just take advantage of the cultural fictions. Even in self-deprecation is a kind of a hubris, an effort to draw attention to myself for something no one else likely even notices. I wear my imperfection like a hair shirt, so to speak. The fact that this is male pattern baldness further exercises my gender-specific privilege and underscores the fact that I am a man, so therefore able to make light of a perceived flaw because I know it pales in comparison to the actual power I wield for no other reason than the fact of my birth and identity. Along with changing my hairstyle, I might also change my attitude. I might name my own particular sins and injustices, and as I do so, let them go. Why do I resist? What things are good and right to change, and what things should stay the same? What should I resist? What should I surrender to? What does the earth teach us about stillness and courage and freedom and resignation, forgetting and remembering? What do we teach each other? This tension between resistance and surrender is delicious. What things are worth resisting? What things should we surrender to? Immediately, the things to resist, the list of things to resist includes instinct and reaction, gut feelings and nonsense. Resistance is seen as a strength when it is applied to self-control, when it reins in desire and carelessness. Our Midwestern sensibilities share in this a theme in Zen Buddhism. The sage desires non-desire, says Lao Tzu. And desireless, she is tranquil, and all under heaven is naturally settled. We might think about the role fear plays in this interplay between surrender and resistance. Each can be done in fear, and that might be a test of when to surrender or resist. Trust seems necessary for surrender. Sometimes so is a willing resignation. There is comfort in sitting back and letting it rain. In this time of social distancing and self-isolation, surrender has been the watchword. 2 weeks ago, when we began this, I invited you to consider this a time of Sabbath, a time of letting go. Surrender, says wisdom, to the inevitable, to aging, to death. Sometimes surrender puts you in control. Another teaching from Lao Tzu, nothing in the world is softer than water, and yet nothing is better at overcoming the hard and the strong. Some years ago, I knew a woman who confessed to often becoming momentarily angry whenever she was caught at a stoplight. You know how that is. Sometimes they seem to see you coming. Surrender, she told herself. Whenever she found herself getting angry, she would throw $1 into her ashtray. The pot eventually grew to $2,966. She bought herself an enormous flat-screen TV. The list of things to resist, of course, includes sins and injustices beyond our personal traits. Thoreau famously refused to pay his taxes in protest of the Mexican-American War. He was briefly jailed for it and parlayed that experience into a book, Civil Disobedience, which influenced Tolstoy and Gandhi. In Gandhi especially, through his doctrine of nonviolence, surrender is conceived as resistance, and resistance in its violent form surrenders to the forces we seek to overcome. These days, opposition mounts against the injustices of race and class. Would we tell African Americans to simply surrender to grossly skewed incarceration rates? No, we would say resist. Would we tell white Americans and institutions, including police, to resist any attempts at change? No, we would say surrender to justice. As UUs, we know, it gets hard to even have a discussion sometimes because you always have to think about what you were about to say. There was a post on Facebook a while back from a colleague attending a workshop. He says he was watching a room full of UUs struggle to repeat, "We will have to let go of control." Try that. Say with me, "We will have to let go of control." See how that feels? See what I mean? The comment string on this post was rocking with laughter. We could add that to the UU joke book. To enter into any relationship is an exercise in surrender and control, in surrender and resistance. It is to allow others to affect you. It is to give up some of your independence, to resist your need for control. We practice that in church. The give and take of relationship. You have to give up control, and in so doing, we gain in strength. There are lines from a song from the musical Wicked that I really like. They speak of relationship, to me, of resistance and of surrender. Along with the earth, we are taught by each other. The two women in the story sing to each other as they part, like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes a sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I have been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good. In our connection with the earth and with each other, may we find balance, may we be changed for good. Blessed be. Alex.
My life flows on in endless song, above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new
Once again, coffee hour begins at 11:30. In this time, in this trying time, I hope you find ways to persist. Reach out to each other through phone, through email, however it is that you can. Be safe, and when you go in love, seek justice, find peace.